How about now? Okay, looks like some sound's coming. Still not getting desktop audio though. So there's no music, I take it. Hmm. Okay. That. Still not working. That is unfortunate. Let me try closing the music real quick and opening it back up. Okay. Looks. Okay. I think that fixed it. Let me know if that's working for you all now. I think we now have microphone audio and music audio. If I'm reading the levels right. If someone could please confirm if both of those are working now, that'd be great. Okay, cool. All right, so I was talking to no one, but what I was saying at the beginning of the stream is that we have an Android Dev Challenge happening now. For those of you who aren't aware, so let me see. Let me pull that up. So this is the Jetpack Compose Dev Challenge. We're doing a few weeks of this. This is week 2, and the idea this week is to build a countdown timer. And you can go here and check it out if you'd like. I can't, participate, but I can still build a countdown timer for my own, satisfaction. And I thought this would be kind of fun. I found this design on Dribbble, and this design has the screen where you kind of use this vertical scroller to pick the like hours, minutes, and seconds. I'm actually not going to do that, so I'm going to build just sort of this right hand side of this mockup. And what I was thinking was that you would like use your finger as like a little scroll wheel to kind of add or remove seconds here to the timer. In practice, that's probably not like a great timer. If like you wanted to set the timer to be like 12 hours or something, that wouldn't be great. But I thought it'd be like a fun way to try out gestures and everything. Which, to be completely honest, I haven't played around with all that much. And so this will be like a fun sort of experiment. But so that's the idea. Let me know if that makes sense to you all, and we'll go ahead and get started. Paul asked, how are you doing, Leland? I'm doing good, Paul. Thanks for asking. Yep, looks like the sound's good and everything. All right, so let's jump over here into Android Studio. So I started a project. This is just the empty compose activity. I haven't done much to change any of it. The one thing I did do is I wanted a transparent status bar for this because of the design. And so honestly, I feel like it's way too complicated to make that happen. So like I went and just copied something from Stack Overflow. But so that's what I've got right now. Whoops, looks like I messed something up. There we go. And so right now this is just a surface, says hello world, and that's it. So we move that over to the phone. Get my device hooked up here. Paul Vickers says the clock on my phone does that, but you choose hours and then minutes. Yeah, I've seen that. I think my phone has that too, where you know it kind of has like a picker. Which is nice to like set an alarm or something like that. That's something that we could do, but I don't know. I kind of wanted, I had this idea for the mock-up here where like if you spun your finger around and then you went back up and so you like completed a full circle and then you started going to a second circle, I was thinking that, you know, at that point the whole circle would be red, and I was thinking it would like kind of animate in and be like a thinner bar, and then the outer bar would be gray, and so then you could keep going and it would keep kind of like shrinking in to represent like a minute that you added. And I just thought that'd be a cool effect. I think individually choosing hours and minutes and stuff like that is probably like a better design. But you know, this is just like a fun experiment. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So the first thing I want to do is I'm gonna change some colors here so that we're not looking at just like a plain white screen. So I'm gonna add a few colors to this page just based on what's here. Let's see. Let me get a color picker. It looks like the mock-up here is kind of like a gradient of sorts. So I'll try to BG color center. Let's see. So I'll try that, and then I'm gonna have Val BG color edge. And I'm gonna get that color as well. This is like real imprecise colors here, but you know, it'll work well enough for a little demo. So I've got those. What other colors do I want? You know, the white is fine here. Might do like 2 of the gradients. Or let's just get one of these reds. I'll say that's a dark red. Might change the name of these at some point, but it's good enough to start. Light orange. And so for those of you who are wondering, this is maybe hard to follow on stream, but I'm using an app called Color Note on my Mac, which just gives me a little color picker, and I can go around anywhere on my desktop and get a color. So I'm just using the colors in the mockup to do that. Born and Brox asked, just started. Yeah, so I just started this. I'm doing nothing but like defining some colors and stuff right now. Let's see. Marco asked how to make bottom navigation work with navigation component. That's probably a longer-winded answer. I don't want to get too distracted. I think there's a sample online, and actually I think Adam McNeely was just working with this last night on his stream. So you might want to go and check out his latest stream, which, you know, just sort of like a happy accident. Click the color and margin, you can do that. Yeah, there's a color picker. I don't know, will this go? I guess it will. Okay. Neat. Yeah, I didn't know that the color picker would go outside of the window. That's nice. I'll enable that some other time. Okay, so we've got a few colors here. I'm going to change some of these. And actually, I'm not going to do this, these like two different color palettes. I'm just going to do a dark color palette, because it's just sort of always going to be in a dark theme. This may not be like a great idea for like a real app, but I think for this example, it's fine. I'll do that, and then so this primary, I'm gonna do like the dark red, and I'll do the orange for the variant, or maybe that. I don't know. Should that be the secondary? I'm not really sure. Not super familiar with the material design, like color names and stuff. So the background, I'm gonna do the BG color edge, and let's see what that shows up as. Just give that a shot. Born in Bronx asks, can you link it? Yeah, to Adam McNeely's stream. Let me that TV. So if you check out, this is oh, it's gonna start playing something. I'm not gonna do that. So we'll go back here. But here's a link to Adam McNeely's stream. You should check him out. Born in Bronx says, Leland, hoping you go into some unit testing stuff today. I probably won't today, to be honest, just like with some of the stuff I'm doing. It's probably not going to be super amenable to unit testing, but maybe on a different dog fooding project with a different app, I think that'll be like a pretty good idea, actually, and I'll try and go further into that. Could do with a code lab project on compose navigation. Yeah, it's a good idea. I'll mention that to DevRel folks and see if they want to put something like that together. Okay, cool. So it looks like what happened there was, if we go here, you know, we've got our surface and we can see that it has the background of like that we chose in our theme, but it only kind of wraps around this hello world with just like a little bit of padding. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass in a modifier here, and I'm just going to say fill max size, and I think that that will fill the screen. Okay, so now we're working with kind of like a whole screen dark color here, and we can see that our text was kind of automatically chosen based on you know, the type of colors we're using and stuff like that, so that's good. And this will kind of give us a good start. I'm gonna break out of this like main activity file here and just kind of give us a new file. So let's call this countdown. Sure, why not? Didn't really want a class, but that's all right. And so what I'm going to do here, posable fun countdown. All right, so now we're kind of in a nice new clean file, and this is like going to be our whole screen here. So let's see. You know, I think one of the things I really want to show today on stream is some of the gesture stuff, and because it's a little bit new for me, and I think it'll be new for a lot of you, and not a lot has been covered on it, so I think it'll be good content. And so I'm not going to spend too much time making this pretty right from the get-go, and instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to like kind of build some of the gesture state and stuff around this like wheel like motion that we're doing. So let's start kind of trying to do that. What I'm gonna do first is like, let's just put a box on screen here, and let's make it let's see, so let's fill the max width here. Oh, that's weird. So we're having it fill the max width, and I think right now what I'm gonna just try and give it a background color, just so that I can see where it is, and let's make it blue, and let's give this an aspect ratio of 1. So it'll be like a solid box, square box. And I guess what I want to do, let's put this in a column. And let's align the items in the column in the center. So let's say vertical arrangements as arrangement dot center. I think that'll work. It might need to be centered vertically. I never remember. Let's give that a shot. Born in Bronx says, cool, how long will you stream? So a few hours maybe. I have, let me check. Basically until the next meeting that I have. So let me check my calendar real quick. I think it is 3:30. So yeah, another 2 hours. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so we've got this big blue box in the center of the screen, which is good. And oh, it's weird. The colors on my screen are like way different than where on the device. Interesting. Okay. So Nitro G42 says, I wonder why don't you use IDE preview to check what it looks like. Couple of reasons really. So one, we're going to be doing gesture based stuff right now. So being able to like play with my fingers and actually do it on a real device is important to me. The other thing is just that for like my streaming setup, I've got like, you know, either an emulator or a device in like a separate window, and then I've got that kind of put into a very specific spot on my stream overlay, and that just makes it easier, like, so I don't have to worry about stuff blocking the preview window and stuff like that. So that's just how I'm working. But I don't know, I think whenever you're working with like gestures and stuff, I think the preview right now like isn't really great for that, but that's what I'm doing. So okay, so we've got this box. Now what do I want to do? So let's play around with this. So I know we have a few, like when you're dealing with gestures, so pointer input is one of the is sort of like one of the raw layers of gesture stuff that you can do. So like inside pointer input, I've got all of these like helpers. You don't see that. So like pointer input is it's a pretty cool API. So pointer input allows for it gives you a suspend function, and that suspend function is like, you can sort of think of it as like the stream of events coming in over time, like touch events, and so you can write this kind of like interesting logic of like, okay, you know, wait for the next touch event, you know, look at the details of it, okay, wait for the next one, okay, you know, cancel or succeed and stuff like that. And it's like it's a powerful way of thinking of gestures, but I'm not very used to it. Like I haven't used this API before, and so I think you know, we'll kind of deal with it together. But I think it's a really cool way of doing gestures that is different from anything else I've seen. So I'll play around with it. Born and Bronx says, if it's a quick answer, what do you use to cast your device screen on your PC? Something like Visor. Yeah, I use Visor. I have a Visor subscription. Keith asks, what are the specs on your PC? The build and deploys seem really fast. It's a MacBook Pro 15-inch. It's not, I don't think it's like top of the line MacBook Pro, but I mean, it's like a nice MacBook Pro. This is like my work machine. Yeah, code completion doesn't show on stream, which is a big bummer. I'd love for that to be the case. But yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so we could use this like pointer input API, which is like the kind of more primitive gesture API, but we have some APIs on top of that. For instance, Draggable, and what I want to do is see if Draggable works for me. It looks like it probably won't, because you're not seeing this, but it has an orientation, which kind of indicates that it's meant to go vertical or horizontal. Yeah, and so I don't think that that'll work for me. But we might be able to use this as a kind of template for what we want our actual dragging code to look like. Shoan says, what happened to fling on animate float? Is animatable the new animate float? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened to that. I wasn't aware that it went away. We can see the documentation, just the code completion that isn't showing up. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at how Draggable works. So Draggable's got some state that you can hoist and pass into it. You know, a few callbacks and stuff like that, which makes sense. And then you can see what it does is it uses this pointer input block, and then it says, you know, drag for each gesture, which is this. Okay. Let's see, what is this? Interesting. So, currency and scope, and for each gesture, we await pointer input event scope. So that's the start event. Okay, so await first down, and you can see here in the gutter that this is like a suspend call. So whenever we make these suspend calls, we're waiting for some event to kind of stream in. Nitro says this API looks really cool. On one app, we wanted to do something like the top notification drawer, drag a handle to display a view, but couldn't find a good way to do it. Here, this almost looks like it. Yeah, this is a really powerful API. You know, I think it'll be interesting once people really start investigating these things. Like you're gonna have, I think, some developers that just dive really deep into these things and just build some really cool things on top of it. All right, so the start event, we await the first down. If the draggable isn't enabled, then we don't do anything, which that makes sense. We're not going to do that. So if we're starting to drag immediately, we don't wait for slop. So I guess what you can do is you can, you know, if for instance you have an element that's like it's draggable but it's also clickable and, you know, long pressable and stuff like that, like then you kind of have to wait to figure out which gesture is going on, and so there'd be some slop associated with that. And so you know, if you long press once you move a certain amount, then it sort of indicates like, okay, this is a drag. But if you start immediately, then it's just kind of it immediately returns the down. What's the type of down here? A pointer input change. Okay. Let's take a look at what that is. So pointer input change, it has a position as pressed, has the time. This is basically like a timestamp for when it happened, when the touch event happened. Okay, and the pointer type, interesting. Okay. All right, so what I'm thinking is we will, like, I'm gonna copy the code for Draggable and kind of make my own. So let's kind of do that. Let's say let's make a let's make a wheel draggable. And that's what we'll call it. So I don't know if I want to copy all of this. Let's make a new file, and we'll call it wheel draggable. Right. gPolygot says, which font are you using in your IDE? Yeah, it's a font called Dank Mono. I think you can go to dank.sh if you want to check out. So wheel draggable. Let's try that. And I'm kind of just gonna copy everything here. We're gonna slim it down a bunch, but it'll be a little bit easier to work with here. So, froze a little bit there. Close some things. Let's see, we don't need any of that. All right, so we got just these two files open. Marco asked, do you use an external monitor? If yes, which? Yeah, so I've actually, let's see if my monitor's put on here or not. If you go, it's loading really slowly. Not sure my monitor is here. There it is. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'll send a link to this. Someone asked me to put together like a link with all of my streaming gear and everything. And so, yeah, a lot of answers to those types of questions in there. Sean says, sorry, I was a bit late. Are we trying to react to circular motion or circular drag? Yeah, so what I'd like to do is there's this design here where you can see, like, on the right hand side, there's like this countdown wheel. I'd like for that wheel to be like a kind of gesture detector, and it'll kind of feel like an iPad, like, or not an iPod, like click wheel type thing. But that's sort of the interaction I'm going for here. I'm trying to build. Marco says, what's your advice to stay up to date with all changing and evolving technologies? I don't know. I'm not sure I have good advice there. You know, there's some things I stay up to date with and others that I don't. I think like a big source of updates for me is just like Twitter. I kind of use Twitter as like a professional tool, like, for this industry, and so I follow a lot of people that you know, are really deep in a certain area, and kind of rely on that as like a medium to get new information. But I don't know. I don't think I do all that good of a job of like staying updated with everything. It's just the specific things that I kind of work on every day. Okay, so I'm not sure what this API actually does. The whole drag. I'm not sure what you end up using this this API for. I guess I'll have to figure that out. So let's just keep some of this around. Not sure we'll need it yet, but you know, we've got it there. So here's our draggable. Let's get rid of this, and then let's call this wheel draggable. All right. I'm going to get rid of orientation and enabled because I just don't really want to deal with that right now. Not sure what an interaction source is. I'm going to get rid of this start drag immediately thing and the reverse direction thing. That's good. Kind of simplify that a little bit. Alright, so orientation, enabled, reverse, start drag immediately, those are all gone. So we no longer need is vertical. Daniel Franklin says it'd be really nice if pointer input scope implemented coroutine scope so you didn't need the nested coroutine scope so that you can launch multiple detectors. Yeah, that's good feedback. I think that might be a good change. I'll mention it to someone and see if that was done intentionally or not. Okay, so we're gonna be dealing in instead of in XY coordinates, we're gonna be dealing in angle coordinates. So we're probably gonna need to kind of not sure where these are coming from, but we'll need both X and Y, and then we'll need to convert those to basically polar coordinates, so like an R and a theta. Okay, so is vertical, don't care about that. So the delta, let's pretend we only care about angle here. So actually a good thing to do, so offset, I think what I'll do is I'll deal with the offset. You know, actually, the right thing to do might be to modify this draggable thing to not have an orientation and to give me an X and a Y, and then I'll do the conversion to polar coordinates in here, because really the conversion to polar coordinates assumes that I know what the center is, or I have a defined center, and that information may not be available to the wheel draggable modifier, and so it might make more sense to just have the XY, and then here I'll keep track of what I want my center to be, and then I'll do the conversion inside the handler here. And so that means that I should probably I should rename this. Let's rename this to let's just call it XY draggable. Terrible name. It really should probably just be draggable, but I don't want everything to conflict, so I'm gonna name it differently. So let's call it XY draggable. Deal with that. Okay, and so then the position change gives me an offset, and that's my XY. And so that's what I want. So we're good there. Okay, so consume the change. And I'm getting rid of enabled here and reverse direction. So this is interesting. So our drag by, we probably want an offset here. Zdenek asks, what's your daily primary phone? I'm curious if it's a Pixel. Yeah, it's a Pixel 3 here. So I'm actually getting ready for an upgrade, so I think I'm gonna get a Pixel 5 or 6 next. We'll see. All right, so let's just have this delta be there. And so now instead of pixels, this will be offset. And then this will need to be an offset as well. Offset. State. Okay. So we've got the start position, and interesting that velocities float. We might need to change that, but we'll see. Okay, initial delta needs to be an offset. Hopefully that resolves itself later on. All right, so we'll need to implement one of these. I'm just gonna pretend it's vertical right now. All right, so we don't have enabled, and the behavior we're going after is for it to start dragging immediately. So we basically just need this branch. So we're not waiting for slop, which means that start event is no longer nullable. So I think what I'm gonna do is get rid of this let, which, where is that let? Oh, big let. All right, let's get rid of that, get rid of one level of nesting here. And we'll rename the start event. Here's my start event. So let's call it the start event drag, which is what it was before. So that's good. Hey Gabriel, how's it going? What will your XY detector enable that detect drag gesture doesn't? I'm not sure. Maybe I should be using that API instead. Like I said, I'm pretty new with these APIs, so maybe that's the better option here, which would make some of this a bit simpler. So I don't know. Let's try that out. So pointer input. So what is it? Detect drag gestures. Okay, this is probably what I want anyway. Let's try it. So on drag start. Set on drag end. Drag, and then this is a, let's see, I get a change. Out. That's interesting. Okay. This is probably what I want. So thank you, Daniel Franklin, for pointing that out. I was a little bit curious as to why some API like this didn't exist. I thought we just hadn't built it yet, but looks like I just didn't look hard enough. So thank you. So let's comment some of this out. I'm not gonna delete it just in case maybe there is a good reason for us to use it. But let's go here. Okay. All right, so let's start playing around with this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a text element here, which is gonna just give us some debug information. Because I wanna understand just sort of how this thing works. So let's do this. Okay. Cool. So let's create some state here. Okay, so let's say is dragging, or well, that can just be, let's say start position. I'm just going to call it start. Mutable state of, and then we'll say offset at 0. So we're going to be dealing in offsets here. Whoops. No, didn't want that. All right. Only this would work. Value, set value. Okay. So we've got a start position and current position. I wonder if I should use offset or nullable offset for these. Let's say is dragging. Okay, so 3 states: Boolean, dragging state, starting point, and current. All right, so just giving us some debugging information here. Start, current. So that should be useful to us. So what I want to do is on drag start, I want to say start equals offset. On drag, and then I'll set dragging equals true. And then dragging equals false. And actually let's set current as well. And then on drag cancel. I wonder what's up with that indent there. So dragging equals false and cancel as well. And then on drag, we're going to say current equals current plus amount. I think that should work. What is this telling me? Okay, I can do plus equals, great. So let's see what that looks like. So Matt McKenna asks, what's the difference between calling by remember and equals remember? For week 1 challenge, I was trying to use by remember, and Android Studio said that it couldn't be used as a delegate. Yeah, so Android Studio was lying to you. It's a bug that these 2 things weren't getting imported, and hopefully that'll be fixed the next Studio release. We've tried to fix it in some cases, but it hasn't been fixed in all. You know, basically there's a Kotlin bug that these aren't always showing up as like valid imports. But so remember returns the type that is returned here, which in this case is a mutable state of offset. And so the type of this is mutable state offset. And so if I had an equal sign here, then the type of start would be mutable state of offset. And so that's a mutable state is an object that has a value property that is writable and readable. What the by keyword does is it makes it so that the variable start is sort of mapped to the value property of that object. And so when you use start in your code, like I am here, when I'm reading it, it's equivalent to me calling .value on that state object. And then when I write to it, it's equivalent to me assigning that property of that object. And so it's sort of just like a syntactic trick to kind of make this mutable state wrapper kind of go away and make me think of it as a local variable that I'm mutating. This has some nice effects in Compose because you know, Compose will look at where you're reading a state object, and it'll take the current scope and essentially subscribe it to changes to that object. And so when I do it this way, wherever I read that variable, it's going to cause that scope to subscribe to it instead of the like upper scope where it's defined and stuff. And so it has some nice effects, and it also is a bit nicer syntactically. And so I like using it. But hopefully that explains the difference. But okay, so we've got this box here, and we've got this drag state set up. So let's see how this works. Okay, pretty neat. So it looks like the offset is working pretty well for the current, but I guess I'm just continuing to add, yeah. So I never really reset the value to 0, and it doesn't look like start is getting set. I'm gonna have to figure out what I do in current. This is a little bit weird because I would expect. So this just keeps adding to current. But I would expect onDragStart to reset it to whatever the initial offset was. And so that kind of seems strange to me. So I wonder what happens if I 0. Like, if I just reset these, does that change at all? Okay, so that worked. So it doesn't look like cancel is ever getting called. Which is a bit of a problem. Hey Joe NRV, how's it going? So I wonder why that would be. Let's see. Start and cancel. Doesn't cancel mean you move away from the UI element that the drag started on. I don't know. I'm not seeing any sort of. I'm not ever seeing it canceling. So. And I mean, it doesn't look like start or end is ever getting called because dragging is always false. You see that here. And on drag for the rest to use. Oh yeah, I think that's right. What is so? Thank you for that. Change that consumed. Let me see. It must consume the position change. I guess, how do I consume it exactly? I guess I modify this. Position change, down change. Okay. Pointer input change that consume. Consumed that change equals true. And change. I'm not sure if this is the right way to do that, but let's give that a shot. Consume all changes. Okay. I wonder if that's basically what I wrote. Let's see, is it? Yeah, okay, cool. Very cool. Okay, I like that. And then let's consume all changes. Let's see what the implementation of that is. Okay, basically the same thing. Great. So I will remove my little API there. All right. All right, so now I think what we should do is we should convert from these Cartesian coordinates into polar coordinates. So let's see. Here's what I'm going to do for that. I'm going to change my state to be data class wheel position val start val current. All right, so I'm just going to have a single wheel position state here, and it's going to be nullable. I'm going to initialize it to null. And position. I'm going to do that. So then here I'm going to say position equals wheel position offset. Okay. And then here I'll just say it's null. Position equals null. And then this will be neat. What I'd like to do, so what I'm gonna do here is just say position plus equal amount, and I'm gonna have that be an operator fun plus. And this is then the right-hand side, which will be an offset. And this will return a new wheel position, which will be a copy of this with current equal current plus offset. All right. Amount. Right. Okay. Maybe being a little bit cutesy here, but you know, why not? Position dot plus. Okay, so this dot copy or wheel position RHS. Okay. I do not want a unary plus. So then we're going to get rid of dragging and current. So then we've got position here, and we'll say Well, really, we can just do position. Should be like a decent string there anyway. Let's give that a shot. Yeah, no, I wasn't looking for plus assign. Plus assign will automatically get used if a plus is defined. It assumes that plus assign is the same as, you know, a plus equals b is the same as a equals a plus b. The problem is that wheel position was nullable, and so I had to define it at the top level to define what the operator meant on a nullable left-hand side. Okay, so let's see how this works. Looks good. Why is there a current? Oh, I see. Yeah, it's just the way the toString works. All right, great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to define theta here as I'm going to define it as a float. And let's see. So first what we want is, well, actually here, let's do this. So delta x is offset in floats. It should be, right? Yeah, okay. So delta x is a float. Start, or it'll be current.x minus start.x. Now delta y float. And that'll be current.y minus start.y. And then theta here will be the arc tangent. Let's see, arc tan? Atan, okay. Atan of x over y, right? Delta x divided by delta y. Do I need to mark that as a double, or will this work? Kotlin.math, that should work. Okay. What's wrong with those? Okay. Yeah, that's true. I could just mark it delta. Why don't I do that? Good suggestion. It's current minus start. And then I would do delta x, delta y. All right. So let's see how that looks here. And so that'll be, what that'll be is the angle from my starting position, which isn't necessarily what I want. We'll have to play around with that. And so this will be position.theta. So let's see how that works. Okay, and so it is in radians, which kind of makes sense. Let's see, so if I go straight up, this is where 0 is. And if I go this way, this will be negative. And if I go this way, it'll be positive. And actually not sure this is working. So the delta circle. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna draw a circle. What I'd like to do is so let's just do shape, circle shape. And then I think what I'm going to do is just do a real quick draw behind where we draw a circle, white, and with center size can I do that? Okay, what else is here? On a radius, right? Yeah, so then radius, let's call it 20. What are you missing here? Color, center, radius. That should be it. Is this? Oh, this probably isn't an offset, but a size. That's to offset. I think there used to be a helper here for that, but okay, so let's just center equals offset, size dot width divided by 2, size height. Okay, that a shot. Oh, my IDE is frozen. I don't know why. Hey Adam, how's it going? It's going all right. We're learning about gestures and art tangents. Oof, my machine is starting to struggle. Can someone let me know, is my stream like dropping frames or anything? The IDE is starting to freeze up on me. I wonder if my machine is having trouble. Stream's fine. Okay, that's good. Daniel Franklin asks, why do you have it relative to the gesture start instead of a fixed position? I shouldn't. I just started with that just because I didn't have the center when I was writing code. So we'll adjust that. Born in Bronx says, I think you inverted X and Y in Arctane. Okay, yeah, that might make sense. So let's give that a go. Oof. Frozen again. All right. Let's build this. Yeah, Android Studio is really frozen. I might have to, I might try restarting it or something. If this doesn't improve. So I'm not sure if it's even, okay, so the Greta build's running. So I'll wait for it to finish. Not sure why this one's taken a long time. While we're waiting for the build, if anyone has any questions, now would be a great time to ask. It seems like people are following along pretty well so far. Some of y'all are probably know more about these APIs than I do. Mick says, random questions. I noticed that you can measure children only once. What's the idea for creating layout that needs few measure passes to decide how to place children? I guess similar problem is in constraint layout. Yeah, I mean, the idea, I guess, is for those layouts to not exist. We're trying to be very principled with the layout and really enforce single measure pass only, and that really helps avoiding these sort of n squared layout problems where you end up having a lot of back and forth and remeasures and okay, so let's see how this works. So let's start off near the center. Okay, so this is near 0. This is increasing. Okay, so that doesn't look quite right, but can you show the right part of the operator that I wrote? Yeah. Whoops. Ugh. So the operator is adding this offset to current, or it's creating one with that offset being the start position. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do is, so first of all, let's multiply this by 180 over pi, whichever pi I'm supposed to import, and that'll why is this, what is this problem now? Tan float, found double. Okay, let's keep it afloat. That to float. I think that's probably the problem, yeah. Okay. Oh no, more freezing. Okay, so Born Brock says, I suggest using ATN2 instead of ATN and give it ATN2 delta Y over delta X. Okay, I'll try that. What is ATN versus ATN2 versus ATN2? Wow. Yeah, I wonder, my machine is really struggling right now. Let me know if the stream ends up dropping frames or anything. I'm glad it doesn't. It sounds like it hasn't really so far, but ATN is only for quadrant 1 and 4. ATN2 works for 4 quadrant. Okay, that does sound like what I want. So thank you for that. Double. Okay, looks like it. These are defined in doubles. Let me just do the math in doubles and then convert it to a float. Oh, it's 2 parameters. Okay, got it. Yeah, let me try closing the IDE because it's really struggling right now. Okay. Open Studio back up. Thank you, Epix. Says I can remove val center and use size set center. Nice. I knew there was something I was missing. Okay. It's interesting that OBS seems to like show the old, like the IDE is closed now, but OBS like has like some cached rendering of it, I guess. Okay, one of these days it will open again. There it goes. All right. Come on, Android Studio. You can do it. Yeah, I didn't try and validate caches and restart. Hopefully just closing it. Born in Bronx asks, is the work in your house finished? Not quite. So right now I'm in my office, and right above me is like our new kitchen and everything that we're doing. And so there's still, it's like still basically a big construction zone above me, but we're getting closer. So like some of the cabinets have been installed and countertops are going in soon and stuff like that. And we had scaffolding all around our house for like the past several months. And half of that just came down yesterday. So that's nice because now we can like actually see out our windows again. And I don't know, you also, when you have scaffolding set up, it's like, there is no privacy. Like all of the windows, you just like have to assume that like someone's going to be like walking outside them at any point. And so it's nice to like have the feeling of privacy again in some form. But okay, so Studio is back open now, but I don't think you're seeing that version of it. So let me go and fix that. Okay. I think that fixed it. All right, so you see me again. Let's get the device back online. Yeah, appreciate it, Born in Bronx. It's been a long process and very tiring, but we're getting near the end of it here, so that's good. Okay, so I implemented some changes. So let's see if those helped. I don't want to change any of the code while it's building, but when it's done building, we'll implement some of the other changes. So I'm thinking, we'll probably run into the my next meeting, and so I'll have to leave, in like 45 minutes. But I'm kind of having fun with this, and I'll probably pop back on and continue work later tonight if I have time. So if this is interesting to you all, feel free to come back whenever I do leave, and hopefully I'll keep on going. Okay, did it? It's still building. When builds are going to be fast or slow is like very elusive to me. Sometimes it works great. I mean, to be fair, this is like I just had it open, so nothing's cached and all that. And also, OBS is taking up like 5 CPUs right now, so there's also that. So we'll be a little bit easy on the build speed here. Born in Bronx says, will you post on YouTube afterwards as always? Yeah, so I'm streaming to YouTube right now, so it's if you want to watch on YouTube or Twitch, that's sort of up to you. How's it going, Rickon? But yeah, so the YouTube streams, you know, they stay online like forever, whereas the Twitch ones will expire after like 16 days. But you can watch all of them on YouTube. Actually, I mean, it's kind of an interesting point. Like one of the things that I've noticed is that there's been a few videos that I've like for some reason or another, the stream didn't make it onto YouTube, and so I've reposted it afterwards as an uploaded video. And I've noticed that those videos get a lot more views than the ones that are streamed, and I'm assuming that's because like the YouTube algorithm kind of assumes that a live stream is more valuable when it's live than it is after the fact, and so like deprioritizes it in search and stuff like that. And so I've been thinking, I'm not really sure how I feel about this, but I've been thinking about only live streaming to Twitch and then publishing those as normal videos to YouTube afterwards to, you know, maybe increase the visibility of those things. But I'm not sure how people would feel about that. You know, I know like a lot of people don't have Twitch or really use Twitch at all, but they like almost everyone uses YouTube, but the live streamed content isn't as common on YouTube. And so I don't know, it's hard to figure out kind of what the best middle ground is. So I don't know what's up. I'm gonna cancel this Gradle build. It's like it's just taking forever. I'm not sure what the deal is. Let's try it again. One of the things I want to say, so let's say size.center. Should work. Okay. So Joe NRV asks, has the viewership been about the same in YouTube versus Twitch? I have more live viewers on Twitch than I do on YouTube, but that's also not necessarily fair to YouTube because I usually tweet about, like I usually tweet when I'm gonna live stream, and I have a link to my Twitch page, and so I think a good chunk of the viewers come through that tweet, just because I have like a decent Twitter following, and so I think that that's where a lot of people end up finding this versus like subscribing to my YouTube channel or Twitch or whatever. So I'm not sure if center something that exists here. Yeah, okay, it's just part of the draw scope. That's nice. Born in Bronx says, do you know that you can extract highlights, which can be the full stream in Twitch, and they stay there forever past the 60 days? Yeah, I didn't know that. I wasn't sure if there was, I've done some highlights, but I wasn't sure if there was like a max length or anything. I could try that as well to keep some of that up there. Okay, so Studio is just breaking down here. I'm not really sure what's going on. This is hard to deal with. So let's try that. Let's try the invalidate caches and restart, because yeah, it doesn't seem like it's getting any better. Joan or BS, what machine are you using? I'm using it's a MacBook Pro. It's a pretty decent one, but you know, it's not. I'm doing quite a bit on my machine at once right now. All right, thanks, Boxing Mayo. See you later. Okay, Android Studio not responding. Force quit. Sorry about this, everyone. This is a little bit tough here. It's just a lot for my machine. Okay. Let's open this back up again. Tutor says I need a Mac Pro. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've thought a lot about like, you know, a lot of people have a separate PC for streaming, and then they just, you know, stream the raw output from the machine they're working on. And I could do that, but I'd really rather, like, I'd like to avoid it because I end up using the OBS's like window capture feature, and I think it's nice for me to do that because you know, that way I can make sure there's nothing sort of in other windows that might be like confidential or something that accidentally ends up on stream, and it's just like a little bit of a peace of mind for me. You know, however, this is quite a problem. But honestly, I think this might be more of a studio problem than it is like a streaming problem. I've been having some problems with the latest Canary seems to be freezing, or just, you know, kind of consumes a lot of memory and CPU after a while for some reason. So I'm not giving up on this setup yet. I think it works okay for most purposes. The latest Canary catch COVID. Yeah. Unrelated question. Can you explain intrinsic sizes and what problem they solve? To be honest, off the top of my head, no. Intrinsic size, like the layout system, and some of the things that we do there with like intrinsic sizing is still a bit confusing to me. I wasn't very involved in the design of it, but I do remember reading a design doc where this exact, like the whole point of the design doc was about this exact question, and it was very well written and like did a good job convincing me that like, okay, this is a good thing and like the right thing to do. But that was long enough ago that I won't do a good job parroting that document. I think a good idea though, because this has been brought up a few times, is maybe seeing if we can take that document or something, you know, very similar to it and publish it online so that other people can see all the reasoning for it as well. Yeah, let me, I'll write that down right now, because I think it's a good idea. So make sure yeah, I'll ask someone about that. It's so I don't think we need to make a for dummies version. I think that once explained, it kind of makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I'll let the doc speak for itself when or if we make it public. Okay, so I've got Studio back open now. Let me try and go fix it again. Okay. All right, still indexing, but hopefully we'll be home free this time. Sergey asks, is there already a multi-threaded composition switch? So kind of. There's a new experimental API which we kind of added just before beta, which allows you to create a composition where you can pass in a separate coroutine scope for composition and apply. And what that allows you to do is to run composition basically on a background thread if you want to. And there's some scheduling primitives there as well. This is super experimental, and the part of the problem is like, so the compose runtime is it basically supports this now, like as far as we can tell, but the toolkit that's built on top of this, like everything in compose UI, there's likely still a lot of lingering bugs that'll show up if we start running composition in the background. We've tried to clean a lot of them up, but we haven't had enough time to kind of play around with compose in a multi-threaded fashion for like that to be possible. And so that's why it's marked experimental, but it is the kind of thing where like if people wanted to play around with it, they can. And if something breaks, then we hope they post bugs, and we'll slowly make it more mature. And like probably in like a 2.0 or probably a 2.0 time frame is like when it would maybe be turned on by default. But maybe in like a 1.x time frame it would be not turned on by default, but all of the composables that we provide you and stuff would be safe to run in that mode. No idea for a 2.0 release date. Sergey asks, can I enable it and play around? Yeah, you can play around with it. Maybe that's a good idea for like a stream. I could play around with it. I'll write that down. I don't remember all the APIs off the top of my head, so I'll maybe come back and do something with that. But you can go find it right now. There's some. They're not hard to find. Keith asked, does Android Studio Canary get patches, or do we need to wait for the next release cycle for these sorts of issues to be sorted out? Well, so I mean, Android Studio Canary is like it updates in a frequency like every 2 weeks, similar to like Compose, and so those issues should be coming out soon. Or they should be fixed and coming out soon. Born in Bronx says, what can I say to my React Native fanatic coworker to make him understand native development on Composes better? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have like a long React Native background. I think there's a lot of great things about React Native. I think there's a lot of good things to say about Compose, and a lot of advantages that it has. But yeah, people like what they like. I'm curious to know how many things you write down per Compose session here live. I don't know. It depends. Like, I have like a notes doc that's like just open constantly that I just throw things into so I remember. You know, usually when I stream, this is things like you know, any bugs I encounter, or like issues or things that I think could be better. So I don't know. All right, so the build is running again. Let's see if it will succeed and go on device. That would be great. Oh man, I'm not sure this is gonna get fixed. It's very frustrating. It's like one thing when this happens to you locally and like you're just working, but when you're streaming live and this happens, it does kind of suck. Appreciate all your patience. So I'm gonna wait for this to finish. But yeah, if anyone has questions, you know, now would be a good time to ask them. Menalopio says, what's the name of the font you're using? It's Dank Mono. You can find it at dank.sh. Oh, wait, I got something back. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're maybe in business here. The build came back, it failed with what we thought it would, which is that I wasn't passing two values to that. Okay, freezing again. Gordon Bronx says, see, I just needed to ask about testing. Okay, fingers crossed. Yeah, Joe NRV says, this is why I love JetBrains Projector, running Android Studio on a beefy VM in the cloud and use it via browser on any machine. Yeah, I'd be interested in trying that out. You know, one of the things we I ended up using it, like an early preview of that for an early on stream with like Gabe Peel, and it seemed like using it, the network traffic ended up causing a lot of issues with the streaming quality. So I'm not sure. I should try it again, but I'm not sure if it would work great or not. So SJCQS says, are JetBrains folks involved in Compose API design now that they're pushing hard with Compose for MPP? Not really. I mean, for the most part, like almost all the API decisions have kind of been on the Google side. You know, that said, it's not like we're, you know, trying to push them out or like rejecting their ideas or anything. It's just they just haven't gotten very involved. You know, the cases where they have are more related to the sort of like abstractions and API choices that impact Compose being used for both desktop and mobile, where some things may not make sense. And so like we've been talking a lot lately about how to handle mouse events and things like that, and hover states, and there's a lot of discussion there about how to properly handle that, and those types of things haven't been kind of properly designed from the beginning because we weren't supporting them directly. And yeah, so I don't know, they're not sure if that answers your question or not. So Salamacus says, where do you see Android development in, say, 2 years from now? Do you think Compose will be the de facto option for making Android apps, or will the huge amount of legacy that exists on so many big old apps make people stay away from it? Or even more importantly, management that doesn't see the benefits of making such a big change in how the code is written due to fears for employability or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a crystal ball or anything, but I think in the time scale of 2 years, I suspect that Compose will be the majority of like UI development on Android. Obviously it's not going to be 100%, but yeah, I think it'll be a majority by that time. But who knows? Maybe that's too optimistic. I'm not sure. Joe Interview says I wrote a blog post about it. Interesting. Do you shoot me a link with that blog post, Joe Interview? I'd like to read it. I'm definitely interested in making it so that my computer has a little bit more sanity here. Okay, what do we got here? So, if I do this, it goes all the way from 160. So should get to minus 180 to 180. Yeah, okay. So this looks like it's working pretty well. We got 0 all the way to minus 180 plus 180. Okay, that is pretty cool. So this basically works. What we want to do now is we want to make it so that the actual origin that it's using is just the center of the circle instead of the starting point for the drag. Okay. So let's see, how do we want to change that? Well, we want to figure out where the center is, and so we might want to yeah, so this this fancy wheel position class here may not be the best thing. So I'm going to change my state design yet again. Let's see. Let's do. We don't want wheel position, so let's do offset. Oh, so I'm just gonna have a center position held in the held in a state value, and we'll go ahead and store that somewhere. So let's just say let's call this origin. Origin equals center. Let's do that. And then So let's see, we're gonna have a position. So let's kind of just want our, so let's get a drag position here. And that can be an offset as well. Can make that nullable. And then I wonder if what I can do is just have an offset theta. Float. That. Okay. So I'm going to keep this class around just in case I end up wanting it, but let's see what this looks like. So here's what I'll say. Plus amount else set or amount. It's like kind of some unnecessary null handling there, but it's good enough for now. Yeah, I don't need to mutate this every time and draw behind. This is like just kind of like an easy thing. I mean, it's probably better to do this. So and here I can say placeable equals it dot measure. Wait. Yeah, okay. So this gets a measurable and constraints. And here I want measurable dot measure constraints. This is just like basically just doing like default, like the default layout and handling. And so this will happen during the measure pass, which will happen less often. And here I want 0, 0. And placeable dot place. And here I'm just going to do 0, 0. I kind of wish that was like, I don't know, just like a little bit easier, but it's pretty dang clean to be able to do like arbitrary layouts like this. And so then here, what I'm going to do is, so origin will equal placeable dot width. Is there a placeable dot size? So then I can just use center on that. Nope. Okay. So let's just say offset placeable dot width, placeable dot height. Don't want the packed value there. So that's width in pixels. And this is going to be an int offset. Or actually, here, since I'm dividing it by 2, I don't really want an offset. I don't know. That's like a little bit janky. Maybe we'll see how that works. Hey, Afsal, how's it going? Modifier to onsize changed. Yeah, you're right. That's probably the better way to do it here. I'll change that right when Studio stops being frozen. Yeah. Good. I am gonna. So I've saw you just joined, but I am gonna be probably finishing up in the next few minutes here. But I think I'm probably gonna come back on later tonight and finish some of this up. So we'll see. Okay, so origin is going to be it dot center dot to offset. Okay, cool. I like it. That is a lot easier. Thank you for pointing that out. So then I can get rid of this, make that happen less. And so now what I have is, so this will give me the position. And so this should be the offset of the, should be the offset in the whole thing, I think, right? So I wonder if I do minus origin. I think that's what I want. So let's see how that works. And so then what we'll do is we will say origin position and theta, and that should be good. Yeah, Android Studio is struggling some more. Born in Bronx says, I can organize an AMA on Compose for you or the team on Reddit, Android Dead if you want. I'm a mod there. Just ping me up on Twitter if you want to. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. I know if it's like, you know, if it's an AMA for like the whole team, I think probably like DevRel and marketing and stuff will want to get involved. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think if I did an AMA on Reddit, I'd probably want to ask someone, make sure it's okay. But like doing AMAs here on my stream seems fine. But yeah. but I appreciate the offer. Okay, so let's try running that again. Let's see how that works. And yeah, just so you all know, I'm gonna be it's 3:25 right now. I have to get to a meeting at 3:30, so I'll be signing off here in just a minute. But let's see how this works. Okay, cool. So the offset's 540 by 540, which makes sense. So yeah, this works pretty well. So this is 180, and then it's gonna go to minus 180, come over. And so if I just start dragging here, then it should be like around 180, yeah. And then here it should be around 0, which is right. 90 minus 90. Okay, so this like basically works. So now we have we've got like a draggable wheel, which, you know, now that we have that state, like we can start using that to construct our little, you know, countdown widget thing. So that's probably a really great place to stop. You know, now that we have that, you know, this is that was like, I don't know, kind of because of this detect drag gesture, like that was just really easy. And so I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. And I'm glad that something like this already existed. At the beginning, it kind of looked like it didn't, but it definitely does. Everything else, you know, worked great, super clean, very happy. I can go ahead and get rid of this like wheel position class here. Yeah, so I'm gonna go, you know, I gotta go to a meeting, but I'm gonna continue this later this afternoon, and we'll pick up from here, and then we'll start to make it kind of, you know, look like a countdown and be pretty and stuff like that. So that'll be fun. So thank you everyone for joining, and I'll see you all later. Cheers.